Willkommen, buonasera, and welcome to Celeritas. Saturday night, that must mean it's time for Division 1. We are in Monza this weekend for all our divisional races, and we're just assembling our drivers ready for the qualifying in Monza. Can't wait to get going. My name's Webbo, I'm your commentator at Celeritas, and joining me tonight we have Carrera Fan firstly.
Hello.
Good to have you back in the commentary box, and with us for the first time is Fabio, giving us a little bit of local Italian knowledge.
Good evening, buonasera.
So we're excited to have everybody contributing along with us tonight. Looks like we've got 16 drivers, so hopefully, Carrera Fan, we can invite Fabio in to spectate live instead of just through YouTube.
Yeah, let's not leave him hanging.
Yeah. We had a cracking race last night. It was action every single lap. I think we had at least 2 overtakes every lap. So it was frenetic and difficult to keep track of. Let's hope that that's similar tonight and we have a fight at the front. We have our championship leader, Prime, joining us tonight to the disappointment of all the rivals. Prime joins us. Prime's from Finland, and he has been beating this division hands down. Every time he's taken part, he's already won. So we'll pile all the pressure on him and hope that he cracks and we get a change at the front maybe. Thod came very, very close last week, I know, and I know that there's a lot of drivers who are fancying their chances at this race, because we found out last night, Carrera Fan, this track bites.
Oh, it definitely does. The run down into turn 1, you have to judge your braking point right and just pray there's no pile up there, but yeah, it does bite back.
Last night we saw Willan's new driver to the league, not to be confused with Will, who drives in Division 1. He made up 10 places by the second corner. So I'm still waiting to see the onboard of that particular start, because that was something else.
Just going to mention it now. Conditions are horrible.
Wow.
This is going to be a real challenge for these drivers here.
Definitely, yeah. What's going on? Let us know in the chat. Welcome to anybody joining us. Do let us know what the forecast is for the race as well, because we don't get to see that crucial bit of information, frustratingly.
Not many cars going out already.
Looks like we've got several people in the chat already. Lightning's here. We've got Jamie, Catalyst, Dylan, everybody here to watch the racing. So can't wait to get started. Like I said, last week it was a cracker, and so was last night. But this is really going to throw a spanner in the works for all our drivers. I don't expect they've done a lot of wet running.
No, neither did any of my friends for yesterday's race, so it's going to be a wet quali and a dry race, so they'll get 3 tyre options for the beginning for tomorrow. Well, I say tomorrow as if it's a normal F1 weekend. I mean in around 20 minutes time.
That's our virtual tomorrow. We have our virtual weekend in one evening, of course. We're looking forward to getting going. I'm following along with Thod here because he was one of the first out. Unusually for him, he usually lets everybody get out and start their flying laps before he gets going. So change of tactics from Thod tonight. Maybe he's feeling like the conditions, you kind of got to be on track all the time. He's just getting used to the track there. I could see out of Lesmo too, he had some problems. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. The rain, you just want to get out non-stop. It's not like a dry quali. You can maximize the tires, and there's no worry about tire wear here. Obviously, the wet on the quali session. So
exactly.
Just take as many laps as you can, and just get faster and faster. So we're going to see Thod start his lap very soon.
It looks like Gwyneth's with us as well. And here goes Todd to start his lap. Maybe Career Fan, you can take us through his lap. Give me your opinion.
Yep. So breaking down into turn 1, you're going to get the apex correct here. That'll line you up for the second corner, and the exit of that, it looks like he gets it bang on the apex there perfectly. He's got a snack of oversteer there. Struggling to control his car. He's on the grass now through corner 3. But he's managed to hold on to it now. Coming into the fourth corner now, let's see what he can do. Can he get it right on? Looks like he can. Don't go into the gravel. Manage that fine. Now to this corner here. Little bit of oversteer. Controls it through. Now the second Les mode. Watch out for track limits, and there's a car going off. Should get past that without any problem, and he does. Now the long run down into Ascari. Track limits as well, and grip is very important there, and very, I'd say, stressful. But let's see, track limits goes off. I think that might be track limits.
Yeah, he's definitely invalidated this lap.
Invalidate. And FedEx runner does a 130.833 while we're on board with Todd.
Yeah. Let's check out Prime. What's he up to? He's just coming out of Retifilia. I could just feel, as you were saying, that corner, I could just feel Fabio in the background, you know, screaming the corner names at us. So maybe Fabio, you could take us through a lap in a minute in Italian. That'd be pretty awesome. Here comes Prime. He's keeping it together through Ascari. He's a lot neater than we saw Todd on his first lap. So maybe Prime's had a little bit of practice in the wet. Down into Parabolica. It's almost like he's driving a dry line here. One of the things I feel is missing from a Codemasters experience is being able to take different lines in the wet as they can in real life. A 130.2, comfortably the fastest on his first lap from Prime. So we will see if conditions improve through the session or if that was the best of the track time. Let's have a look. Just looking now, we've got Senna. Senna's on a hot lap. Treacherous out there. It looks really, really difficult for our drivers. Into Ascari. Takes a big amount of the first apex. Goes right on the outside, but seemingly didn't invalidate. So maybe is this his outlap? But certainly the outside of the corner, he went way off the track. Maybe he's found somewhere that track limits doesn't necessarily apply. I'm not sure. Senna crosses the line in the 7th place.
Sorry, I was going to say, FedEx runner is not in the session. I'm just trying to figure out what's happened there.
Interesting.
Absolutely bent it into the wall.
Yeah.
It's lagged out. Just trying to see what's happened there.
I didn't get a notification on screen, so hopefully it's just a temporary disco.
Yeah, he's got 130.833. Of course, track evolution here on the wet could be a thing to look out for. So, and as I say that, waits, he takes 3rd place. So if he can't get back into this quali, he's going to try and hope that only the conditions get worse.
So talk to me about these wet tyres. Is it worth just driving around on them if you've got enough fuel in the car? You don't necessarily have to come in and change for fresh all the time.
No, not really. And as well, the race is going to be dry according to the chat and our drivers. So you might as well maximize them. You know, you can only gain experience by driving more. So you don't need to, you know, unlike the softs, you don't need to come in once every 3 laps. You know, you can just take your time, get used to the lines and all that, and find where you gain time. So
there goes Todd. Look, a much safer banker lap he puts in. So he gets P2, just a 10th and a half slower than Prime. He did go completely off. He's cutting all the corners to get back to the pits as quickly as he can. think that might be frowned upon by our drivers. I did see a discussion about that earlier in the day on Discord. We've got Bruder race last night, as did Senna, so they'll know what to pick for strategy. Waitsy stays fourth with that lap, no improvement. I'm interested to see what Dawadek's up to, because he's had some scorching pace lately. Certainly trying to frighten everybody with his time trial times, and he was the class of the field on Formula C on Tuesday. Reminder to our stream watchers that we do have 3 nights of broadcast racing a week, plus a Division C on Sunday. Now on the Celeritas channel. We topped our audience figures last week for the Division 1 race, so I wonder if we're going to get something similar overall tonight.
It scares many people watching.
Not yet.
Our Division 1 drivers can put on a good show.
Definitely. Dawadek goes P4, so good lap from him. Very nice lap to build on. I know a lot of drivers have been, criticising some other drivers in the Discord for doing wet time trials, but it would pay off if you've had some experience in the wet tonight. Anyway.
Well, I don't see why it's not allowed, but just get as much experience.
Yeah. Waitsy invalidated his lap. He's in for fresh wets, I think. Would anybody dare go on to inters once the dry line starts to form?
The dry line is starting to form. I can kind of see it, but just the surrounding water around it. If you dip a wheel next to it, or 4 wheels, then it'll be. You don't want to know what's going to happen next. But especially the braking point, the turn 1, it's not easy. So I'd say still on wets for now, and there's 8 minutes to go, and I don't think we're going to see wet runners out there.
Sparks just fighting the car through reticularia, and certainly on the way out, that was a real struggle for him. He's not got a lot of grip, and will the drivers, they'll be set up for the race, for a dry race, I'm sure, so they'll be on minimum downforce in the rain, which is really hard work for these guys tonight. Whoa! Okay, Sparks spinning round, almost wiped out his teammate, but just about got through. So drama for Sparks. He's going to have to turn around and get another lap started, because it's about time. You need to get that banker in. Prime's coming out through Parabolica. Let's see how he gets here. Lightning rejoins us, so that's cool. Prime goes even faster, 29.2. Wow! So nearly a whole second faster than his previous time. Great work from Prime on that lap.
Great
wow.
lap, a whole second faster than Todd as well.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. So we'll probably follow Thod along in a minute. Maybe Fabio, you can give us an Italian track guide with Thod. We definitely want to feel some of that Italian flavour tonight. Big props to Fabio tonight, joining us from Indonesia for a race. It's midnight where he is, so commitment to the channel. Well, Thod's about to start his lap. Fabio, see how he gets on.
Not sure if it's a glitch or not, but I see a few drivers got intermediate set at the moment. They're in the pits, but
okay.
I don't know if they're gonna risk it. I mean, if you're down in pace, then you can't get any more positions. You might as well, do something the others aren't. But I wouldn't suggest it's ready for it.
Looks like
just
Thod struggled. McLaren off. Wow. Okay. Thod completely skips those chicanes again. He's racing to get back to the pits. I can't imagine, given the grip he's got, that he would fancy a trip out there on the inters, but he just wants to get round and get his lap started. I think he's invalidated this attempt.
And as you say that, we have Beetle on the Inters. He's going for a run. He's just on a run now, 132.1, and he's going to try and do another, but he's just locked up into the first corner, so he's giving it everything on the Inters, so it's going to be interesting how he's going to cope with those styles.
So his current best is a 32.1 on wets. I think that was set. So nothing to lose, I guess, for Beetle. Thod has decided that's as fast as he's going to go in qualifying tonight. Time for a refuel, get himself comfortable for the race. He's gone. Prime's come out on Inters as well, so that's going to be fascinating to see what Prime can do on these tyres. Let's watch along with Beetle though, see how he gets on here. Yeah, it looks like Lightning's had some trouble. He's just talking on the YouTube chat actually. So I don't know if there's a penalty for skipping the chicanes in qualifying, and Beetle goes super wide on the exit of Ascari, but that seems to be okay as far as the game's track limits are concerned.
Yeah, I think the game knew he lost time there, so it's not going to invalidate his time. And David has put a 129.9 as Beetle's going on the grass. Nearly lost it there, and I think he's just absolutely gone full speed into that pit lane.
So yeah, David's put in a good lap from nowhere. He's just invalidated this one, but yeah, good lap from him. I'm not sure what Dawadek's up to. He's gone out on the wets again, so he's running around in sector 2 at the moment. Got a fastest sector for him, so driving well here. Backing it out of Ascari, very dramatic from Dawadek. Let's see if he can still gain some time, because he was considerably up, but it's going to cost him all the way down to Parabolica.
Just a few things to mention. A few drivers are going on Inters now, so maybe it might be ready. And now we could see a whole shift in grid order. Because
look at Dawadek.
The game might think it's ready.
Dawadek went faster, even though he was sideways on the way out of Ascari, so he's got plenty of time still to gain there on those wets. But yeah, it's quite possible we'll see something better on these Inters. Let's join Wait Seat. I always think that the Alpha from 2020 is missing its front wing because it's black against the road. It's difficult to see sometimes.
I have also thought of that as well, missing a wing.
I still think it's the best livery in the game though, from last year.
Definitely the 2021 Alpha looks very good as well.
Yeah.
Just livery. Whoever designs those liveries, I give you a round of applause for that.
It's probably Pininfarina or something like that. So, Waitsy coming out of Lesmo 2. Looks like Prime has definitely left the pits, so we'll follow him along in a minute. Lightning! Yeah, Lightning goes pole on Inters. It's definitely the right choice at the moment. So Lightning, I think he's running second in our championship as well. Or is that FedEx?
FedEx is second.
FedEx is second, right. Okay.
This is going to be really interesting now. The whole grid is probably going to be reshaped now because it's time for Inter. So now whoever's best on Inter, well, it's your time to shine. And Dawadek goes fastest.
On wets.
On wets?
Yeah.
Dang.
Waitsy fastest.
Oh, and Waitsy's gone faster.
Brilliant stuff. So, yeah, the times are tumbling now. The track's definitely bedded in. The spray's gone from the dry line. Here comes Prime on his outlap still. Let's just check if anyone else is completing a lap. Death Dragon, he's got some speed generally, but he invalidated there. Price is quite low down at the moment. Be hoping to capitalise on the good run that Branch had yesterday for Ferrari. But we'll follow along with Prime. Let's watch on board, and then hopefully we can all get some pointers about how to go faster. Branch is watching from Texas.
I have a feeling it's going to be a huge train of cars because now the track's getting dry, so the last car that goes out for a lap is probably going to get the best amount of grip. So it's going to be a real game of chicken here. Who goes first, who goes
last. Pricey pole, there you go. Yeah, just watching along with Prime. He's hugging the inside wet line around Curva Grande. purple sector for Prime. Heading into Retophilia, let's see. Can he get the power down? Doesn't seem to be having any trouble here. But right now, he's down in P6. So we can only hope that something goes wrong and we get a fight at the front and see what Prime's racecraft is like.
It's about between Waitsy and Pricey now. Watsy's taking to the top of the timings now.
But
and
I think
he's just made it to get a lap in.
Prime is going to drop this considerably. He's nearly a second under at the moment. Coming out of Ascari, going into Ascari, he was 0.9 under the time. Let's see what Prime's got. He's just got one more corner to go.
One more corner. Can he retake fourth? He's 7th currently. I'm sure he can get higher than that.
He's using that inside wet line. Very interesting from Prime. Yes, look at this. 27.8. A whole different league, frankly, from Prime. So he goes pole comfortably on the inters. Lightning is coming around Parabolica. What's he got? I haven't seen his sector times, but Lightning doesn't improve. We've got Gwyneth coming around behind Lightning. Gwyneth's showing well tonight. He's coming into... Is that Retophilia? I think it is. Yeah, so he's got a way to go on the lap just yet. Snarf picks up P5 right now. Waits, he managed to get around, but he's invalidated. So let's go and find some drivers who are still running. Looks like we're almost set on our grid. Storm down there in 15th at the moment. Dowdek, after showing P1 at some points today, he's way down the field as well. P11 for Dowdek. I would say free choice of tyres, but unfortunately that applies to everybody tonight.
Yeah, it's just best time when it's wet for quali. Just get the best time in
well,
there.
There's an indication
Shame
for
for
you.
Storm, though.
There's an indication that which were the right tyres to be on. Maybe take us through it for us, Carrera fan, please.
So we have Prime again on pole with Pricey and Waitsy filling up the podium positions. Lightning follows with Snarf behind. Quinn P6, 7 Beetle, Lankovas in P8, DJ Death Dragon P9 and P10 for Brooder. P11 Dowdek with David behind. Thod P13 with FedEx Runner P14, Storm in P15, P16 to Senna Medrian, and P17 for Sparks with no time.
So interesting from Thod there. He quit out on the session before the inters were the right tyre to be on. So I fancy he's going to have a bit of a journey through the field, but it's all about avoiding trouble down into Retophilia. Have you seen anything that we've missed, Fabio?
No. Everything is fine.
Excellent. Well, that's good news. So we'll try and keep an eye on the start from different positions. I'll handle the front. Maybe Carrera fan if you stick in the middle somewhere, and Bruno can watch from the back of the grid, and we'll be able to give you an idea about what went down into turn one. But it's an exciting setup for the race here. Obviously, Prime out there in front. He's got the best opportunity to get through the first corners first. Prime, yes, indeed, it is prime time. It's he talked about this last week in our press conference. So yeah, it's definitely prime time tonight. Who's going to knock him off the perch?
I would say Thod.
Yeah. We get going on our...
I wonder though, sorry,
go ahead,
I wonder why Storm, unfortunately in quali, he didn't go out for another lap on the inters when the track was really rubbering in. The two cars ahead of him were both retired like early on, so he could have probably made up 2 positions, but
yeah,
I'm not sure what happened there, maybe track invalidation, something like that, but he's gonna try and have a good race, make up as many positions as he can.
Definitely, yeah. I think Lightning's start is heavily compromised by his by that connection problem he had. Nice to see Vico in the chat there. I he mentions whether anyone will be on wet setup. I'm pretty sure that if they saw the weather conditions prediction for the whole race, I think they all would have qualified on dry setups. But it's possible someone took a chance for track position. Yesterday, track position didn't seem to count for very much. It was.
Oh, definitely did not. Oh,
no.
We have Pricey in the grass.
Okay.
What's going on there? But yeah, track position is quite key as we saw yesterday. But I think it's the race that counts, not quali. Yes, quali can influence a lot on the race, but you don't get points in quali, so the race is what counts now. And just looking at our tyre strats, we got Prime on the mediums and Pricey on the softs. Oh no, the other way around. Sorry, Prime on the softs and Pricey on the medium. So let's see what the tyre advantage is. Get off the line.
Yeah, like he needs an advantage, right? So.
He could probably go on the hards and still go faster.
Yeah. Branch going out on a limb there and completely unbiased, suggesting that Ferrari are going to win today with Pricey. We will see. Sadly, we are not represented by any Italians on the drivers tonight, with Adriano missing. But I know that Fabio will be cheering on the Italian teams at least. Looks like Storm and Felix Runner had some problems with disqualifications from the formation lap, so they will have cold tyres to start with. But the grid is forming and we can't wait to get going. You've got a warm side and a dark side of the start-finish straight here for our drivers. Obviously, the clean side is the outside of the track on the way down. It's go, go, go with Celeritas Division 1. Prime getting away pretty well, but Pricey staying with him. Pricey tucks right up underneath to maximise the tow. Comes down the inside. How brave is Pricey? He doesn't want to take it. I think he touched Waitsy, who's tumbling down the field. Gwyneth, Snarf, Beetle getting through that pretty cleanly. Dawidek making up 4 places. FedEx Runner making up 6 despite those freezing cold tyres. And Prime is pulling away masterfully at the front here, as we've seen before. What have you seen, Carrera fan, from the middle?
Horrible start for the Alphas there, P15 and P17. They've both lost position.
Yeah.
So that's not looking good for them. There was a bit of contact as well. Good start from one of the Racing Point Quinn in P3. He's got Snarf right behind him now. So yeah, good start from Quinn.
Yeah. We've got very close racing from here. Anything from you, Fabio, at the back? Did you see any incidents apart from Waitsy?
The stream.
Okay.
I don't have my point of view.
You see what we're seeing. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, Waitsy the big loser from the start there, but it's not all over because we've seen lots of overtakes in the previous race this weekend. Here comes Snarf to take on Gwyneth, but Gwyneth makes him go around the long way. Snarf hangs on the inside. Gwyneth will have the better traction through Curva Grande, but if Snarf can hold on around the outside, he will get the inside for Retophilia. He's ahead, on just inching ahead here. He's got it done and gets up into second, but Quinn tries to tackle on the inside. That's going to give impetus to Beetle, who comes around the inside of Lesmo. Quinn fighting hard, but so far everything very, very clean with our drivers.
Yeah, we have a pit stopper, one of the McLaren's from over mediums. So
interesting.
He's going to get to the end of those.
No.
He's at the back now. He's got good.
Dawidek slams into the back of Gwyneth. Wasn't expecting Quinn to be that slow through Ascari, and certainly lost some front wing pieces. Beetle trying to capitalise around the inside. The Alpha Tauris are running together after that tricky condensing of the grid, and boom!
Oh,
Off goes
crash.
Gwyneth, and is that Beetle with him?
Beetle is off.
Beetle has managed to get going again. I'd be surprised if Quinn can. Wheels are still on the car, and we've got a virtual safety car due to the impact with the barrier, but just not enough racing room from what I could see there, Carrera.
I saw Quinn actually go off. I think he just didn't go in enough time for Beetle to avoid him, but this is helping out Dowdek because he actually pitted just now, and that virtual safety car couldn't have come at a better timing, and it's now green flag and he's out. So
yeah, and Dowdek goes on to hard tyres, so yeah, probably hoping to get to the end on those. We did see that as being possible if you're gentle on your tyres, but it's lap 3 and it's nearly 4 seconds the lead from Prime to Pricey. So we'll all be cheering Pricey on here to see if he can do anything about that lead at the moment. But let's keep an eye on the closer battles on the grid. A bit further down, you've got David in the Williams behind his teammate Dragon. Behind them, you've got Sparks in the second Haas, and Thod already up to P8. And he started on the soft, so he's got a grip advantage at this stage in the race. We saw Thod making a...
6:45, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Thod, Sparks, David, and Dragon now, and Thod is on the outside, but as well, Sparks is going to try and have a run into turn 1 with David.
Here they come.
Clean boys.
Yeah. Thod is hoping that there's going to be a problem, but...
Oh, and they've gone off.
Oh dear, I think that was Sparks pulling back across the track and not expecting Thod to be sitting there. Thod slams the barrier, loses an end plate. That looks pretty bad damage on Thod's front wing, but we did see a car yesterday manage to run with a broken end plate, and it wasn't worth pitting, but I fancy here Thod is going to have to pit because there's a long section of the race to go.
He's going to have to pit. That's quite a bit of damage there.
Yeah.
Definitely an orange.
Struggling through the Lesmos for grip, isn't he? He's really struggling here. He's got Storm behind him. Storm going to be careful going around Thod here, but Thod's going to be hoping for a safety car now. Yeah, really struggling to get through Ascari. He picks up a time penalty for effectively avoiding the other drivers, which is going to be a kick in the teeth for Thod here. It's exactly like Japan we saw from him as Prime goes on the fastest lap, but this is exactly what happened to him in Japan. Contact in the early laps, damage and an early pit stop. Oh, right up the front, Snarf has just got past Pricey. Last time I saw these guys there was a fair gap between them, but Snarf manages to get Pricey, kicks up a little bit of dirt, which means Pricey's going to look hungrily at that pace. A tiny touch of wheels as they enter Curva Grande, but Pricey gets the place straight back. Determined driving from him. And Snarf has it all to do all over again because he just got that touch on the dirt. Quinn's gone from the race. He's not going to be happy, but we can try and talk to him. I don't know if he's up for it. He's already on the chat on YouTube. But yeah, it'd be good if we can try and speak to our DNFing drivers. Here comes Snarf on the approach to Ascari. Takes a big chunk of apex. Hangs out with Pricey too wide through Ascari. The big winner from this one's going to be FedEx Runner, who comes up to take Pricey. He's had to lift as he comes up behind Snarf and with nowhere to go.
There's a crash. Wait, he has lost it out of Ascari. That's it. It's over. Virtual safety car.
This weekend has been an absolute horror for Waitsy. Fabio, I'm hearing that Quinn is up for a chat. If you might be able to try and get him in the party, it'd be really useful, especially during this lull in the virtual safety car again. But yeah, I thought FedEx Runner was on for a real run there before this virtual safety car came out. He was he just had nowhere to go down the back straight as Pricey was defending from Snarf.
Yeah, I was actually spectating with Waitsy. Actually, he was right on the back of Blankovac.
Yeah.
Right, he was about to overtake on the exit of Ascari, but he just dropped it.
So you didn't see any contact, it was just a pressure, was it?
Yeah, he was just pushing too hard and he just unfortunately spun.
Yeah, no, he's already pointing the finger directly in the mirror on the YouTube chat, so Waitsy's gone. We'll try and get hold of Waitsy as well if possible, but we're back to racing speed. It's lap 6. Penalties are racking up already. We saw Branch yesterday won the race by not getting any penalties and having speed at the same time. So Sparks in P6 challenging Dragon. He managed to stay with Dragon through that VSC, and I fancy he's going to have a good run down the start-finish straight here. Tucks up tight.
Sorry,
yeah?
I think one of our drivers has gone off. Yeah, I think it was Storm, and he's just cut through a Scary. He's got damage, so he did. I think he just spun by himself, and he had damage, and he's just cut through a Scary.
Oh,
so
yeah,
Storm.
Big shame for Storm. I think if he's cutting chicanes, he's probably on his way to the pits to retire.
Yeah, he's on fresh hards as well, so he's only just pitted.
Yeah.
And well, now he's gonna, if he's gonna stay in the race, he's gonna pit again and then go out.
Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens here. Yeah, there he goes.
Retired.
Retirement when he gets to the pits. So doing the honourable thing, but sadly we've lost Storm. So his championship's not going particularly well at this phase. Snarf cannot get away from Pricey. Pricey's sticking with him, and we've got a bit of a Snarf train at the moment. From 2nd down to 6th, these cars are all running line astern. Here they go through Ascari. Yeah, big step out from FedEx Runner as he tries to tackle Pricey. He got him on the exit of Ascari, so there must be some sort of mistake from Pricey through there. As Sparks tries to overtake Dragon on the outside of Parabolica. Certainly possible, but it probably won't do his DRS chances any hope. Who gets DRS as they pass the line? Yeah, Dragon managed to get DRS on the way down here. So Pricey has been gapped by FedEx Runner, and here goes the cars behind, running next to each other through Retophilia, and Dragon gets ahead on traction from the outside on the way out of Retophilia. But it looked like the better pace was in Sparks. He's now P5. So down into Della Roggia.
Yeah, nearly an incident there between Lankavas and Lightning. Wheel to wheel, almost touching, pushing each other off out turn 3.
Okay.
But actually, Lightning's just let Lankavas through. I don't know what's happened there. The legal move was made, but well, Lankavas is now ahead of Lightning.
Yeah, it's quite possible he was told to let the place back. Quite possible. Anyone DNFing Waitsy, particularly, if you can contact Fabio, then maybe he can add you into the chat. I know Waitsy's usually good value for a few lines from him at the end of the race, but it's a shame that if we do speak to him, we'll be speaking to him so early tonight. It's only lap 9, so it's about the time that those soft tyres will be going off. Sorry, Carrera, what are you seeing?
Yeah, sorry, Thod went off through the Lesmos. He went off, he managed to control, he hit the wall a bit, but he's dropped down the place too.
Oh, not again.
Which he did make, but now he's going to have to re-overtake him again.
Yeah.
I think he has no damage.
Terrible race so far for Renault in our last 2 running positions. As I was just saying that this is about the time when those soft tyres start to go off, and this will, if Prime pits in the next two laps or so, then Prime is going to certainly have some places to make up on track, because he's not got a pit stop distance from the medium runners just yet. Again
as well, sorry, the medium runners are still going to go out, and when Prime pits, he's just going to be fed into a whole lot of traffic.
Yeah, definitely.
So
look at this train.
To make these next 2 laps very valuable, because that could cost him. Same for Snarf actually as well. He's on the soft, so he's going to have to pit around lap 11.
Yeah, we'll see what he can get to. I see some of Will's Barmiami have turned up. So we appreciate them showing up despite the fact that Will isn't with us tonight. Couldn't make it. But yeah, stick around. It's going to be an exciting race. It already has been. We've seen lots of action. FedEx
move on Bruder, and
okay.
He's stuck it, so he's got it through Ascari now.
Excellent. Okay, so Thod's second return up the grid challenge is on. FedEx gets second place from Snarf. I think Snarf's tyres are going off by the look of the wiggle he had at coming out of Retophilia. Head down to Della Roggia, and he's really struggling to hold off Pricey again. Those soft tyres are dying on him, and it'd be really interesting to see when he decides to pit, because 17 plus laps is still a hefty amount to try and run the mediums for. Ideally he'd stay out another lap.
Yeah, looking at the strategy at the moment, top 10 have not pitted, so everyone outside the top 10 has boxed new tyres.
And I wonder where Dawadek's going to come out of these pit stop rhythm in, because we did see the hards were struggling at the end of the race from the early pitters yesterday. As Sparks gets by Pricey there, I'm just waiting to see now if Snarf decides this is pit o'clock. No, he goes through, so he's going to hang out for another lap as Pricey and Sparks resume their battle down the start-finish line. They've both got DRS, so no advantage down there, and into Retophilia. Yeah, Sparks just had the edge.
Bruder had a spin out turn 4. I think there was contact between him and Thod. They were battling on track, so that might be a reason battling with Thod. He doesn't have any damage though.
Pricey and Sparks tangle wheels, getting aggressive with each other. Pricey pretty much shoved Sparks onto the grass on the entry into Lesmo. That looked quite aggressive and a little bit vengeful from my seat at least. I don't know what's gone on before, but yeah, that one did not look particularly sporting. Dawadek picks up a penalty. Pricey defends on the way into Ascari. Sparks tries to hang out on the outside. Again, gets pushed, and Pricey's lost it on the way out of Ascari. Boom, goodbye Pricey. I think a virtual safety car is absolutely... Prime pits, does he? He saw the virtual safety car, or maybe this was exactly what he was planning, because that happened very, very quickly from him. But I think Snarf's going in. Yeah, Snarf goes in as well. Nice cheap pit stops for these guys. The question is, where is Pricey going to come out? How far up the grid is Dawadek going to get in under these pit stops, and how much can he protect his tyres? Because Dawadek must be nailed on for a good result at the moment. Prime P6 right now, on his way out of the pits. That's worked out absolutely fantastically for Prime. Comes out in P6 under VSC, pitted, made the whole pit stop nice and cheap for him. So as if he didn't need another little bit of fortune.
Yeah,
Sparks gets a drive through, speeding under VSC. Things look like they were getting pretty nasty between Pricey and Sparks there. I'm fully expecting to see comments at the end of the race from those guys. But yeah, it looked like they were just getting a bit too happy with the elbows on the way through the corners. So the current order, we've got all our non-pitting drivers so far. On lap 12, we've got FedEx in the lead, looking to make hay while he's got a nice clean track in front of him, and the Italian sun is beating down. Sparks in second, Dragon in third, closely followed by David, his teammate, and Lankavas, and Prime in sixth, who has pitted. Here goes Death Dragon. I think we've got Sparks pitting. So Sparks, the last of the soft tyre cars to pit. That's the first round of pit stops done with. Let's have a look at the penalty situation.
Sorry, Sparks is doing a drive-through. His drive-through, so he hasn't actually changed tyres. He's still on that medium.
Yeah, you got it. Exactly. That's why you're here. Fantastic. So
he's come out in front of other cars. There's about through turn 1, turn 2. There's contact between the Mercedes of Snarf and Dawadek now.
Yeah, Dawadek needs to be careful on these hard tyres. as he gets the inside through Curva Grande. Sparks manages to catch a toe under the Haas, get past him. So Sparks doing pretty well out of that in the end. And here is, sorry, excuse me. Dawidek got by everybody. So there's Dawidek on the hard tyres, laughing to himself as he watches these guys trip over each other. So he's in a good position. He's only, what, 3...
Oh, contact! Contact! Oh, no!
What is Sparks doing? No, that's not right. I'm pretty sure that was a deliberate action.
I think Snarf actually went on the inside. And then Sparks moved as well, and then they just spun each other around. I'm not sure if he collected the car ahead, which was Dawidek. Yeah, he did.
He did. He wiped out Dawidek. It almost looked like it was deliberate, but you're telling me that Sparks was sort of pushed off the track?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Snarf moved to the left, and Sparks also moved to the left, and then they...
we'll lose Pricey as well. Price has just left the session. It's all going on under this safety car. It's not even halfway, and we're just losing drivers. Astonishing. At the moment, your top runners are the ones... Oh, dear me, what just happened? Lankovas just slammed into the back of the safety car.
And Snarf has spun round. What is going on? He's right in front of the safety car.
No, Lankovas just smashed into the back of the safety car.
Oh my.
We have...
Snarf as well spun at the safety car.
We have 11 runners left.
10, sorry.
10. Lankovas just wiped off.
Runners.
Yeah.
Everyone's
man alive.
today.
I don't know what's happening there with Lankovas. I don't know if he had to slam on the brakes thinking he shouldn't overtake the safety car, but he's gone. So Pricey,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Pricey seemingly out of the session. Some of the guys on the YouTube channel caught that early, so apologies. Apparently Pricey was already out. Needs some hinge for that door. Sorry, some oil for that door hinge there, Carrera. In the background, I think.
I'm still trying to figure out what has happened here under the safety car. I think maybe it might have not been the driver's fault, because as well I saw Snarf as well was spun round where the safety car with Lankovas. So unless they both had contact, it's hard to say. We need to see an onboard replay.
It's just all gone on in this race. David's just taken a pit stop and put the softs on. Interestingly, I'm not sure he's going to get to the end on those. Good grief. Just can't believe what's been going on here. I've never seen someone hit the safety car. I've seen the safety car hit another driver while he was walking off from his car. Everyone's seen the meme of one of the Japanese drivers, Yuji Ide. He got he got run over by the safety car back in the 70s, I believe. But I've never seen another driver hit the safety car with his car. Incredible.
Yeah,
Prime's
crazy.
How's Prime in the lead? We've missed Prime catching the lead. I guess these guys are pitted for the softs, but surely they've now committed to a two-stop strategy, those medium starters.
I think they could get to the end on the softs. It'll be difficult, but as well, I'd say another 2 laps on the safety car. So from second place to 5th are all on new softs. I'm just wondering why Senna's on new hards, because surely the hards will make it, even the mediums will.
Yeah.
Probably the softs, so unless he can have any other tyres left, starting on the hards, that's going to be very difficult to stay in front of other drivers.
Yeah. I don't know if FedEx was just playing games with us on commentary, faking a dive into the pits. Carrera, Waitsy has said he needs to head off in a minute, but if he will chat with us if we can get hold of him in the party.
All right, hopefully he can join us now. Well, Adam.
Thank you. FedEx is in second place. Prime got past through those pit stops. He's now on mediums. The drivers behind him are on softs. So straight out of the safety car, you're going to see Prime having to defend on cooler tyres, I fancy. So if FedEx and Death Dragon are going to have anything to say about the win tonight, it needs to be now. Waitsy, you join us.
Good evening, boys.
Hello, hello. What on earth happened with you?
Man, I did my amateur manoeuvre of clipping the inside curb coming through the second part of Ascari because I saw Lankavas got a slow exit.
Yeah.
And I got a bit too keen on the throttle, and obviously that was that. Round it went into the wall, game over.
Yeah, well, you're certainly not alone tonight. We're down to 10 runners left. Did you catch on the stream that incident with Lankavas?
I literally saw his car sideways in the middle of the road next to the safety car, so I missed the initial impact.
Yeah, I've not seen it before. I'm not quite sure what happened, whether, as I say, he was trying to play by the rules and stop behind it, or just wasn't expecting it to be sitting there. Which would be...
I've nearly hit the safety car before. Sometimes you just don't expect it to be there. It's just a real unfortunate incident.
Well, it looks like we're going to have dry running to the end, and it's going to be tight with the whole grid having crocodile together under the safety car. What was qualifying like for you today, Waitsy, in the rain?
Great fun.
Yeah.
Great fun. I've never had that much fun in a quali session for a while. That actually went pretty well.
Yeah.
Obviously P3, but I did feel that I could have actually challenged Prime's quali time. I just lost half a second on the last lap.
Okay.
But no, I was actually quite confident going into the race, and obviously I had a horrendous start.
Yes, you did. Yeah, that looked like it was Pricey going wide, like trying to make an attack, and just didn't see you on his rear corner.
It wasn't Pricey. No. It was kind of a mixture of me not quite looking where I was going, and then I got attacked from behind as well.
Right. Yeah.
I think Quinn came out round the outside into turn one. With tremendous closing speed, I will say that, which kind of caught me off guard a little bit, and then I got a tap. I believe it was Snarf, I may be wrong.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was a Mercedes, which then I tapped the back of Pricey, then I went off, and obviously I had to, at that point I was at the back, and that was that.
Yeah.
But even then, I felt my pace was going to be pretty good. I was coming back quite well, and then Ascari happened. Ascari always happens.
Yeah. Ascari will Ascari. Well, Waitsy, it was an entertaining race while it lasted for you, and hard lines tonight, but better luck next time.
It is what it is. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you next week.
Thanks a lot, man. Cheers.
Thanks.
Quinn, I believe you've just joined in as well.
Yeah, I'm here for my weekly appearance.
We're talking to you early again. We're about to hit the safety car restart, so we'll watch that when it happens. But what went wrong for you?
I think it was on the exit of Parabolica. I was going side by side with Beetle. I'm not sure whether it was him trying to cover off the line or him getting hit in the back by FedEx, but he just suddenly comes straight across me, hit my front right tyre, and just collected me into the wall.
And round you went. Prime goes out of the safety car. Just excuse me for a minute, Quinn. FedEx is pretty close behind him. He's got those nice warm soft tyres, so Prime defending to the inside. FedEx has lost out on top speed, so I wonder if he's got a little bit of extra downforce on. Almost runs into the back of him, as Prime is pretty conservative on the way into Retophilia, and FedEx is pretty close. Oh no.
There's been contact between the last three runners.
Okay.
Absolute chaotic into the second corner. They're all side by side, so Lightning's down, same with Bruder.
So let's hope...
And Beetle's almost getting pushed off. Oh, it was Snarf.
Well, no one is calming down in this race, Quinn. This is frantic and an aggressive racing from the drivers. It's just not enough racing room being given, as Beetle gets a terrific run out of the second Lesmo, gets past two cars, slices down the centre of two cars, and there he goes into Ascari, having made a great move. Quinn, what kind of result were you hoping for today?
given the qualifying position that I got, which was originally P6, and then I got bumped up to P5, I believe. With that qualifying position, I just think, just like either sticking to that or maybe even P6, like not dropping further than that, I think it would have been a great result for me.
So FedEx gets past Prime on the start-finish straight, but has to weave across the front of him because of that top speed differential. He's obviously wearing quite a bit of downforce tonight, but he took the lead and he kept it on the way out of Retifilia. We were just talking with Waitsy, Quinn, and he said you featured in some regard in his terrible start. How did the start look from your seat?
I had quite a good launch. I used a bit of VRS off the line just to give me a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
I saw Waitsy just like went for the inside line, so I used a little bit more ERS to try and get round the outside. I missed the braking point just by a little bit, just shot past him. I managed to keep it on track, but I think, like you said, he just got caught off guard by it, and
yeah,
he just took a much wider line through turn 2.
It's a terrible corner for the start of a race. It's an absolute trouble magnet, but. Waitsy was also saying qualifying was the most fun he's had in a qualifying session. Prime's going backwards as David comes around the outside on the start-finish straight. But yeah, that top speed difference for Prime, he's obviously running virtually zero wing. But yeah, Quinn, how was quali for you?
It was great. It was actually great. Just like, I think the wet weather just really equalises it unless you're Prime.
Yes.
He's just different.
The tyres are doing the job for Prime at the moment. They're not doing him any favours at this point in the race. He's really struggling. Sorry to see the back of you so early in the race, but how are you feeling about Australia, the next challenge?
I feel quite confident Australia, but then again, I feel like everyone does, because it's mainly whenever you start a career mode or my team, it's the first track you do. So everyone's going to have quite a lot of experience on that track, but I'm feeling fairly confident about it, yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Well, I hope that works out a bit better for you. Will you be featuring in Formula C this week as well?
Unfortunately, I won't. So it will be first race for Lancaster.
Okay. Yep.
And of course AshTube will be featuring again. So yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well we'll hope to see you again soon, and thanks for stopping by after the race.
No worries.
We're just watching a bit further down the race as Lightning tries to take a move. We've got 3 cars wide going into Retifilia. Lightning is trying to hold on, but Beetle's got the best of that one, and Beetle gets up to P6. So fantastic move from him. Meanwhile, right up at the front, David is challenging Prime. He's as close as he's been yet, so let's see if he can stick with him through Lesmos and make an attack either into Ascari or stick with him through towards Parabolica. He's lost a little bit of time on the way through Lesmos here, but Prime is racing, as is Death Dragon, without penalty so far, so similar tale to we saw last night with the front runners. Just Branch managed to survive yesterday without any penalties. At the moment, FedEx has got the lead, but he's got 5 seconds of penalties. Perhaps that might be why Prime didn't fight too hard.
Yeah, he's got 5 seconds and he's only 1.8 seconds clear of Prime, so he's got 5 laps to try and extend that gap, but as well, Prime's going to have more of an advantage towards the end of the race.
Here comes David, left it really late to come out of the slipstream, got the move done before they get to the braking zone. So David takes second place off Prime. It'll look a lot better for Prime in a couple of laps' time when these softs go off. But he just needs to stay with them at the moment to keep that place. I'm wondering, Carrera, whether as a 5-second penalty, whether FedEx might be trying to appeal that
not sure
after the
about
race.
That, but it's not going to help Prime, because now he's lost the lead, so he's just not gonna. Sorry, not lost the lead. He's lost second place to David. So
yeah,
he's only lost more time for that, and I'm not sure where Todd is. Todd is a bit further down. I don't know how much he can gain to Prime, but yeah, he's just gonna lose time now, staying behind David, unless he can make it through. I'm not sure.
Exactly.
And as well, it's still a great battle for a 6.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunately.
Look at Thod.
It was great action though.
Thod's made it up to P4 on track. He's got a fair amount of penalties in so doing, but in terms of track position, he's romping away up the field as he did in Japan. Fastest lap for Thod, just as we watch him cross the line there. So he's going well on these mediums at the moment. Prime less so, and obviously the implication of what you were saying is that if FedEx can be faster than David, that's going to really hold up Prime on his hunt to try and stick with FedEx runner. FedEx has got to make these soft tyres work for him right now and get away from Prime in order to try and keep this win. As Prime gets a penalty, so Prime just gets 3 seconds of penalties. That's double the advantage that FedEx had. So that's
not going to help Prime.
No, that's just cost Prime the win if things stay as they are. It's lap 23.
Oh, Beetle spun round.
Not again.
Beetle has spun round. I think it was contact between the McLaren's of Bruder or Snarp, or I'm not sure.
He goes over again. He's off again. Out of Lesmo, I think that was. So Beetle having all manner of problems. I wonder if he's got damage or just dirty tyres, and wasn't expecting the lack of grip there. So that car looks to be totaled.
The rears are gone.
Yeah, he's completely got nothing left in those softs. Maybe flat spotted, maybe they're just dirty and cold now and he can't get them back. So
if Prime wants to get second, he's going to have to overtake.
Yeah.
He's going to have to get track position, because David's also got 3 seconds. And as well, with FedEx runner, that's a 5-second penalty, meaning that must have been with contact under the safety car. So
yeah,
he could, maybe that 5-second penalty could be removed.
That's what I was thinking. It's you can't really get a 3-second penalty taken away because it's track limits, and you know that's not really debatable. But a 5-second often drivers will appeal to the stewards to have them removed. So it could well be that FedEx is on here to try and break Prime's perfect record.
It could be, and you can't get a 5-second penalty with track limits. It'll be 6 or 3. So it's definitely got to be either speeding under the VSC, or that's most likely a drive-through, or
pit entry,
making contact under the safety car.
Yeah,
potentially pit entry, but I don't think he had a penalty from the pit entry.
No, I don't remember seeing that.
I don't think so. Prime's got to make a move on if he wants second or even third.
Prime can't seemingly stay with David at the moment. Those mediums are not working for Prime at all. If anything, he's dropping back from David. David has got a gap on him now. Further down, Death Dragon with 0 penalties is closing in on Thod. Thod is still accelerating up the field towards Prime at the moment. Thod will be salivating the prospect of meeting Prime on track after, just like what happened in Japan, missing out on that opportunity to battle with him as Thod goes off into the gravel. Too much apex on the entry into Ascari, and that's completely cost him the chance of everything I just said in the last half a lap. Sorry about that if I've just jinxed Thod.
Shame for Thod. It's been a great comeback though.
Absolutely.
I think he had to pit stop at the first few laps, damage as well. So he's had a great comeback. And looking at as well, Lightning has made 11 positions. Actually, FedEx Runner's made 12 positions, and he's in the lead. So he's doing a stellar job.
He is in the lead, but David's catching him at the moment, and he's catching him by enough to still win this race. He's 1.5 seconds behind him, and there's 2 seconds of penalty delta between them. So this is still a battle for the lead. It doesn't look like it on track, but when you take into account all the penalties, it could well still be, as Beetle drops a lap down to our front 3 drivers there.
Yeah, this is a confusing battle for the lead because if David stays within 2 seconds, he'll win it. But if FedEx removes this penalty, then FedEx wins it.
Yeah.
So we don't know who's going to win. So whoever crosses the line, it still won't be confirmed.
No, the only way it'll be confirmed is if FedEx stretches this gap out with 2 laps to go. Someone makes a mistake and buys himself another penalty. What's going on with Prime on these medium tyres?
Yeah, I think he would be making ground now because it would start to play into the medium runners. As the soft runners are starting to struggle, obviously 10 laps. So, but it's not working for Prime though. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe he's just overheated the rears too much tyre wear, or we just don't know. Hopefully we can have a chat with Prime.
Yeah, we're heading into... FedEx is about to start his final lap, and he's only got a gap of 1.4 seconds. So he needs to gain half a second on David in this one single lap to guarantee for himself the top step of the podium. As things stand, it could even end up third because Prime is within 2 seconds of FedEx runner. The pressure is insane on these 3 drivers to not make a mistake, for FedEx to stretch the gap, for David to catch, and for Prime to stay within 2 seconds of FedEx. It's just dancing around between 1.9 and 2.0 seconds for Prime relative to FedEx runner. One little mistake.
Prime is just staying behind David, and so he's going to have DRS here. Surely he's going to give it a shot. And then if Prime takes second, then Prime will win, because then he will be within that 5 seconds. Actually, when I say that, it's 2 seconds now to FedEx.
But it all depends on how much they slow each other down on the way into Ascari. So Prime gets him into Ascari, but they have dropped back from FedEx runner. They're now 2.1 seconds and 2.3 seconds behind FedEx runner. This is all about Parabolica for Prime. Apologies for shouting down the microphone. Sending around the outside of Parabolica. It looks like, when we get the gaps, it looks like FedEx runner is going to take the win regardless of penalty. What a win!
No, and retired.
Prime gets second from David on the line. Dragon in 4th place. Thod gets 5th, but I think that might drop him once Lightning gets that 5th place, and Thod in 6th. Bruder comes round. As you said, Carrera, we lost Snarf on the last lap, so we won't even get a full 10 points paying positions. Bruder gets 7th. Good result. Here comes the Ferrari all over the road from Senna. He gets 8th place. Snarf disappears on us. Wow, what a finish to that race.
Absolutely amazing. Such a shame that for Snarf, he was running in P6, I think. And he lost it, just 1 sector to go.
Wow, look at FedEx runner taking the win there. What a famous victory for him. He held his nerve, and just nerves of steel on that last lap, while Prime and the Williams of David were battling among each other. You fancy if Prime had just stayed behind David, they would have got this. This would have been a completely different podium. FedEx is the man tonight to take Prime's perfect record. Here he is with the win. Prime from 13th on the grid. Surely that was FedEx from 13th on the grid gets the win. He's going to be insanely happy, I predict. Let's see if we can get him first on the chat, followed by Prime. And there's David in 3rd place from 11th. Dragon getting 4th, Lightning 5th, Thod in 6th, Bruder in 7th, 8th was Senna in the Ferrari, then Snarf in 9th, and Beetle managed to classify 10th. Then we had DNFs from everybody else: Lankovar, Sparks, Dawadek, Pricey, Storm, Waitseat and Quinn, rounding out all of our 17 competitors, but really only 9 drivers crossed the line. Wow, that was crazy race. Who just joined us? Is that FedEx?
We have our race winner, FedEx.
Fantastic.
Yes,
Wow, I don't know if you were tracking the gaps all the way down the back straight there, but astonishing to hold your nerve at the end.
Well, I had 2 warnings, so I knew if I would... First, I thought Prime... Well, I thought Prime would stay in 3rd.
Yeah.
And he would stay outside of the 2 seconds, so he would be behind me. But then I saw they were battling. And, yeah, well, that... I think... Did they go side by side to a Scary?
They did a Scary, and then they tried to do a Parabolica as well, and that just cost them. They were both... If they hadn't made a move, they would have both beaten you on the podium.
Yeah. Well, my penalty, I got into the pit, speeding in the pit lane, and the speed limit is 80 kilometers an hour, right?
Yeah.
And I was exactly on 80. So
Okay.
I might even get the penalty removed, but I mean, now that I won, I don't even need it.
No,
So,
we wondered whether it might be something you would appeal because of it being a 5-second. We didn't catch where it was, but it was pit lane entry according to Codemasters,
Yep.
was it? Right.
But I think Prime got a penalty quite late.
Yes.
It was like 5 laps to the end, and from there I just felt even more pressure, because I knew if I would get one more warning, I would be out. Well, I would have real 3 seconds. Well, then I
Yeah.
probably would really fight to get the 5 seconds removed. But yeah, also I think, did we have 3 or 4 safety cars today?
I think we just had the one full safety car, but it was tremendously dramatic. Lankovas smashed his car into the back of the safety car, and sadly that was end of the race. So that elongated our safety car period. But yeah, lots of virtual safety cars, lots of crazy incidents, a lot less racecraft than we saw last night in Division 2, and a lot more aggression in Division 1 tonight.
But I think, well, did you catch Lankova's crash? Because I think
Yeah.
he took like 2 or 3 other cars out as well.
I think a Mercedes got involved in it after the event, but I think he managed to keep going. But yeah, just crazy. I've never seen someone hit the safety car quite so hard or quite so suddenly tonight. But not to take anything away from your win, that was fantastic. And you're the guy who took Prime's perfect record away, and you did it from 13th on the grid, FedEx.
Yeah, well, I binned my second lap. Well, on the second lap, first sector, on the exit of the second chicane, I binned it. And I thought, because track evolution in the wet normally is so high,
Yeah.
I would drop more or less to the back. But yeah, P13, I was quite surprised. And then on the exit of of turn 2, I was 7th. So that was a huge surprise. I think also everyone outside the top 10 started on medium except for Thod. So when I saw him ahead of him and he was on softs, that was a big relief. And he wasn't directly behind me, so I wasn't under pressure of someone I know would like to get the move done.
Yeah.
So that definitely was a relief and helped me get some confidence.
Absolutely. I mean, as a famous victory for you, I'm sure you will enjoy celebrating that one. Did you record any audio on your way across the line?
No, I was streaming it, but I put myself on mute also because I think other drivers don't mute every driver. And then, well, I did celebrate, but it's not gonna be on the recording.
Well, I hope it was in Italian for the AlphaTauri team. Fantastic work, amazing job for you. And what made it so difficult to get hold of to get hold of the car in qualifying? Was it just trying to tiptoe around on a dry setup?
I'm not quite sure, because normally in the wet I'm really strong, and I did do a dry setup like at Silverstone. I was really strong, and I think P2 should have easily been there. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. Prime, I mean, it was easy pole for him.
Yeah,
so
it was.
So definitely be disappointed if you get him into the party. I'm gonna miss him.
I don't know. I think he probably he's probably happy to have the challenge and the race, but yeah, it all went wrong for him today. It just didn't seem to be able to get the car working again after the safety car with his medium tyres. Just didn't seem to work against everyone else's softs.
But when the virtual safety car came out, I was like saying like, why does Prime always have luck? Because he was like on the exit of Parabolica.
Yes.
And
I don't know if he was planning to pit at that point or he just reacted really well. But yeah, it really couldn't have worked out better for him that first one.
Well, I think he would have pit because, well, at least Davidek and me couldn't stretch the softs longer than lap 11. But obviously he didn't do quali on them. But still, then I guess it's karma when the safety car came out. And I mean, I was on fresh softs and he was on, I think at the safety car restart like 6 or 7 lap old medium. So tire-wise, he didn't really have a chance.
No, but
at the safety car restart.
Well done and congratulations! A fantastic race, and I hope you managed to celebrate your win in proper form. Will we be seeing you on Tuesday, or will we have to wait until Saturday to see you next?
No, I can't race on Tuesdays because I still have to go to school and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'll be missing Baku because we're gonna be on holiday.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy that I could gain some points. We're
Definitely
away from Thod.
Yep.
So next week is damage limitation, as Australia's not. Well, my pace is good, but compared to others, I'm not there just yet.
Yeah.
Well, that was the same for here.
I'm the same. I just can't get when I'm driving. I just can't get it around Australia. This is something of a bogey circuit for me.
If you get a good lap till the final corner, you miss the final corner. Or if you get if you get a bad first couple of corners, you absolutely nail the final part. It's just.
Yep. Good stuff. Well, yeah, like I say, congratulations. Thanks for stopping by in the chat as well, and a fantastic win from you. Well done.
Thanks for doing comments.
I think Prime, you joined us.
I did. Glad to be here once again.
Here you are again, but you've had to wait the ignominy of waiting to be second in the chat tonight.
Yeah, it's not true that my win streak is over. So, but I'm not that sad about it. But anyway,
I said I thought you probably were happy to be racing rather than just driving away from everybody. Is that fair?
That is very fair. Like the racing in the last lap against David was what I really have missed about racing in this game. So it's been a while that I've been having such a great battle. So that was a good dramatic race. To be honest.
It was, and it looked like if you had not made that move on David on the last lap, it looked like both of you were going to leapfrog FedEx on penalties. At the end, but FedEx was saying he's going to try and he would have tried to appeal the penalty because he didn't think it was correct. So
yeah, like did FedEx got the 5 seconds for BSC?
It was pit lane entry, I think. But he said he was certain, but I've never seen a pit lane entry penalty be successfully appealed. So I don't know if that would work for him or not, but
let's see how it goes.
Yeah, but that side by side through the last lap was tremendous driving from both of you. That must have been heart rate right at the maximum.
That was like top content material. Like it's been a long time I've been sweating like this on the last laps. It was so like, I don't know how to explain this, but like, the first laps pretty dominating with the fresh softs. Like everyone is starting the race with the fresh slicks.
Yeah. And
the strategy went successful after I switched to medium stunt, but then safety car came just on the wrong time for me. Like everyone behind me, FedEx, David, those went for the fresh slicks. I mean, not fresh slicks, fresh softs. Yeah. And I decided to stay on the mediums because I went with those tires to the end, but didn't work out. And FedEx had great tire, how do I say it, advantage against me. So he won it by that. But he had a great pace on the last lap. So I had very big difficulties to even catch him under the DRS zone.
Absolutely. It looked like you were struggling to get those mediums switched back on after the safety car.
Yeah, I really did. This track isn't the best for the mediums, to be honest. Like every slick tire on the Monza isn't the best. but yeah.
And what I'm dying to know is, was it part of your plan to pit when you did, or did you react really quickly to the VSC?
I reacted really quickly.
Fantastic.
Like it came just on a great time when I decided to go to the pit on the same time when I think it was third VSC which came.
Yeah.
And also, what I need to also say to the FedEx on the stream, on the live, that congratulations for your first win. Enjoy it, and you have deserved it 100% after all what you have asked me questions about the tracks and my pace and everything. Like you have been starting to challenge me and trying to catch my pace. It's very amazing to watch and really nice to be a mentor for you if you really need my tips and everything. It's a pleasure to.
No, great, and yeah, he's worked really hard, hasn't he, to build his speed and to be able to challenge you. Yeah, and very sporting of you. Well done.
Yeah, I don't know, I've been always not liking Monza that much. It's very fun track, but my race consistency isn't the best here, and also the track limits are very, very hilarious. I really don't like is it the Curve Grande before the chicane in Sector 2? That chicane is very annoying to master, and also Ascari is tricky.
Yeah.
But luckily,
although Beetle's managed to find his own lines through a lot of the track, and he seems to go very wide on the exit of Ascari, and doesn't seem to pick up warnings or penalties doing that.
Yeah, he did good. I just don't like this track. It is my top 10 favorite track, and also I'm lucky that I didn't end up to the barriers like half of the grid did.
Definitely, yeah.
What?
And prime time didn't last all evening tonight, but will it be Maximum Attack or Sisu next week?
Next week is Australia, and I have to say about I want to give a little spoiler about from the other league in ERO, in European Racing Organizations this season, in Formula 1 tier, which is the fastest tier in that league. I won that race on changeable conditions, so be careful, guys, for the next week. I am good in Australia.
So, yeah, Maximum Attack for Prime next week, and we'll look forward to you taking your crown again. Well, the perfect record was fun while it lasted for you, but I'm sure you'll be looking to get back on top next week.
I will get it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well done, Prime, and great to talk to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, both of you.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Carrera, David's been trying to get involved in the party, but I think he started a new party instead of joining this one. I don't know if you can get David to chat, because I think he's waiting to talk to us.
I'm going to head off, though.
Sure.
I'm going to get him here, but that's my time, guys.
No, it's pretty late for you, isn't it? Yeah, and we appreciate you sticking with us. Any last thoughts while you invite David for us?
I don't even know who finished second and third. That I think that explains it all.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you appreciate your support tonight, Career Fan. And I know it's been stressful, it's been frantic, and it's very late where you are. So.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.
I think Fabio's left as well, but.
Yeah, he has.
All right,
yeah.
See ya.
Thanks a lot. See you later. Cheers, man.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, I think while we wait to see if David comes in, I think Carrera's just invited him. Yeah, David, I appreciate you starting the chat, but I think it's difficult for me to switch between parties, especially if I'm talking to Prime. But yeah, it looks like David's with us. David, P3.
Yeah.
But it was a tale of frantic driving in the last few laps there.
Yeah, well, my heart rate was like 180 to 200 beats per minute. And then I'd
love to see our drivers' Fitbit trackers through their races, because tonight that was crazy.
Yeah, those last three to 4 laps when I was within 2 seconds of FedEx, and I could feel the win, and I haven't won a league race in a long time, so...
Right.
Yeah, and then I made a small mistake into turn 1 at the last lap, which cost me around 3/10 or so, and then Prime was right behind me, and he could overtake me, and I was out of ERS at the last lap, so...
Yeah, I think before that attack of Prime, you were both within 2 seconds of FedEx.
Yeah, I just saw the live stream, and indeed it was both within 2 seconds.
It's heartbreaking, but fantastic entertainment for us. I mean, a second place, a third place for you, a second place for Prime, certainly a very good result. But you made up lots of places just like FedEx. What was the secret to that tonight?
Well, I think I gained 2 places at the start just to, do normal and drive through all the carnage. Yeah. And after that, there was 2 VSCs, I believe. I didn't pit under them, and then the safety car came out at lap 15, I think. And I was at the medium tire, so I could easily go to the softs and make it to the end. And then P5 was like 30 seconds behind me, so I had a free stop, like all guys did in front of me. And then at that restart, I overtook my teammate. Well, he just left the door open, so that was easy. And after that, my pace was really good. I think I turned traction control off like 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, brilliant.
And so, it's really a confident boost to get this podium well.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on that, because I know it's difficult to let go of the driver aids, but after an initial struggle, a lot of drivers find time, don't they, once they feel more in control of the car. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I could stick with Prime, so that is also a good
definitely. Yeah, Prime was loving it. He had a great race, and he really enjoys having the challenge. And I know that there was a lot of mutual respect between the two of you in the Discord after that battle, because it could have gone very wrong, but it was very well handled by both of you.
Yeah, he just overtook me right before Ascari, and I just hated corner. And I was like, I have to back off this, otherwise we both end up in the gravel. So.
Well, congratulations, really, really good stuff. Will you be feeling confident going into Australia?
Yeah, I think Australia, especially after turning my traction control off, is maybe one of my best tracks. So.
Excellent.
You overtaking there is really hard, but especially the qualifying is really tense there.
Yeah, well, fantastic. We look forward to that, absolutely. It's been a crazy couple of nights in Monza for Celeritas, but we look forward to next weekend and maybe slightly less commentating, and I can let my heart rate go down a little bit in between.
I will watch the race back right after this, so I can hear you commentating.
Turn the volume down towards the end, I think. Yeah, that was crazy. Well, congratulations, great podium, and fantastic driving as well. Thanks a lot, David. Cheers, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Cheers. Okay, guys, well, I think that's probably going to be the end of our broadcast tonight. I appreciate everybody who stayed with us. Anyone watching again, let us know what you thought of the race. Give us a rating out of 5 for that maybe for excitement, less so for driving conditions maybe, but that was a special race. I'm going to remember that one for a while. I'm going to check in on the Discord and see what's going on. A reminder to anyone watching, we have 4 nights of racing here at Celeritas a week. 3 of those are broadcast. So join us through the Discord links in the YouTube channel, and see if you've got what it takes to join us for one of the divisional races or the Formula C Championship on a Tuesday night. I'm going to go and get a drink and chill out a bit so that I can enjoy the Grand Prix tomorrow as well, and look forward to seeing everybody on the next race day. Thanks for watching.